It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about our good friends, to nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contests. And then listen on Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week. Sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. I got a text on my personal phone, Ben, from my buddy Brandon, who says the noise that elephants and assuming mammoth make is called a trumpet.
Oh, that's a great name.
So Ben's trumpet is now going to be a big part of the show. So brace yourself. Ben actually in the break actually gave Lloyd permission to even use it in imaging.
Yeah,
so
use it everywhere.
Could be something big for the station.
I hope it sticks around forever. I hope that's a sound that I am remembered by when I'm
I will.
long put in the earth, much like the mammoth.
I know I will.
Start bringing trumpets to the games.
There's some.
I love that idea.
That's a good bad idea.
They're certainly not going to let you, but remember when everyone was bringing vuvuzelas to the World Cup?
But here's the thing, and not to get sidetracked because we have top 3 stories, but you open the door to that sort of thing. Like some idiot brings a cowbell to the Kings.
Yeah, now everyone's got it.
And now you're married to the stupid cowbell for the next few decades.
But you
know
what
I mean? Like some moron brings like a bugle to the Mammoth game, and next thing you know, you've got 19,000 bugles giving you a headache.
But the trumpet is the thing that ties together jazz music and the elephant.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Ben is on a roll today.
I think we might have some branding.
Just killing it.
We might have some
How
branding.
many hours of sleep did you get?
Just killing it.
What did you eat for breakfast?
I told you that's the same thing.
I have started going to bed before midnight, and I'm clicking at a much higher level. These people who go to bed early might be onto something.
Life hack.
Life hack. Get plenty of sleep.
Oh, man, now that the season's over, I haven't come anywhere close to midnight.
But see, it's weird because it hasn't upped your production at all. Your quality of performance hasn't changed in the slightest.
Russ, just because Russ loved you up doesn't mean that you can drag me down. Okay. I didn't do anything to you other than apparently take some shine off your hot takes with my screaming.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to yell. I'm trying my hardest. The bozo thing again is really going to be
hard to shake.
That's going to be a bridge way too far.
Yeah.
Top 3 stories of the day. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. Avoid a mistake I made, guys. When proposing to your loved one, do not yell.
Or call her a bozo.
Or call her a bozo.
All right, bozo, are we doing this or what?
Oh.
Are we doing this or what?
No, a nice...
Fine. I'll marry you.
Manageable volume. And avoid bozo altogether. All right. Christian, where would you like to start today?
Number 1, these playoffs continue to give us great games, but Donovan and the Cavs.
Wait. That's a little loud. Let's bring the volume of that headline down. You were at about a 7. We need a 5.
Donovan Mitchell.
No, that's too much, Christian. This is radio.
You're not a yin-yang twin.
You can't do that. All right.
Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, I didn't tell you to lose all inflection and sound like a science teacher.
Just play the sound.
4 seconds to go. Halliburton for 3. 3 ball up top. Indiana by 1. 1 and 1/10 seconds to go. Inbound. Merrill didn't get it off. And this rivals the Milwaukee finish.
You have got to be kidding me.
Cavs up, 14 going into the fourth quarter. 7 multiple times over the last 2.5 minutes, including, I think, with 58 seconds to go. They were up by 7 points. And they lose. Now, going into this game, it was announced at about 4:15, game was at 5, our time, that DeAndre Hunter was out. He has a dislocated thumb. The turf toe is going to continue to sideline Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley is out with, an ankle? Whatever he's dealing with. So it seemed like a long shot already because that's 3 of their 5 best players, and certainly 2 of their best 3, wherever you want to put Hunter in after that, whatever. But it seemed like it was going to be a long shot. But they were up 32-15 after the first quarter. They were up big at halftime. Again, up double digits going into the fourth quarter. And you're at home. You got to win that game.
Yeah.
You can't go down 0-2 with home court advantage and have to go back to Indiana with no real understanding of if you're going to be fully healthy at any point in this series and have to win 4 out of the next 5. So they're in huge trouble. And as we've talked about with Cleveland, they're already way over the luxury tax and into the tax apron next year, meaning they're not going to even have their ability to re-sign some of their players, like Ty Jerome, who's been atrocious in this series, but a great player all season long, was in contention for 6th Man of the Year. This window could close amazingly quickly in Cleveland, and it's going to bring back more questions of Donovan and how long he's going to stay there versus going to New York. That conversation will reignite very fast.
Yeah, we talked about it the other day. You pay a couple of guys and you can't pay everybody else. And people think winning window from an age standpoint, but really there is a winning window from a salary standpoint. If Rusty Wilson proved anything in the NFL, is that once you pay your quarterback, that quarterback better be Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Because you can't pay anybody else. You remember when Rusty was on his rookie deal, they were going to Super Bowls and they won one.
You had the Legion of Boom. Look at San Francisco 49ers right now.
Yeah. As soon as you had to pay Rusty, you had to cut everybody else.
As soon as Brock Purdy has to get paid, you lose, who's it, Brandon Ayuk, and you start losing all these guys.
Yeah. Darius Garland is going to get paid. And Donovan Mitchell already has got paid, and Cleveland gave him a raise. And so those players better be worth their salaries because they're going to have to cut everybody else.
By the way, Brandon Ayuk's still on the team. Who's the wide receiver they traded? Anyways, not
Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel. So you just start losing guys.
Yeah, I mean, so that window in Cleveland, it's going to get interesting.
And they actually had bad luck because Evan Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year, which is one of the qualifiers that gets you to Supermax. It means you add an extra $8 million a year on his contract. It makes it even harder to pay guys.
So, yeah, window is a delicate thing. And it honestly could close on lots of teams at any moment if you don't make, the correct decisions. And that's why bad contracts hurt teams so much, because it limits you so badly on what you can do. The Jazz previous with Donovan and Rudy, their window to win was before you had to sign Donovan and Rudy to big contracts.
Why they did what they did.
You could afford a Mike Conley. They just picked the wrong player.
Right. They paid Boyan, they paid Mike Conley, and they probably needed somebody else. And then the window closed. And we talked about how even if they would have kept Donovan and Rudy, it would have been impossible to get to the next level because they didn't have any money to do it, and those two can't do it by themselves. It's a really delicate thing. We're seeing it in Denver. You got to pay Jokic. You got to pay Jamal Murray. And then all of a sudden you make a bad deal in signing Michael Porter. And now you've got no money for anybody else. You have to cut the entire bench, and you're
stuck.
Extremely reliant on Russell Westbrook.
Right.
Yeah.
So Boston will meet this.
Boston's going to do it this summer. OKC's probably doing it not this summer, but next summer.
So Oklahoma City's window is really interesting. It's why they shouldn't sit on those picks for very much longer, because at some point they're going to have to pay everybody.
Yeah.
They've gotten away with, we'll just pay Shea, whatever. We'll give him all the extensions he wants because we don't have to pay anybody else. But at some point you have to start paying those guys, and that window gets a lot more delicate. So, yeah, Cleveland's right up against it. I felt like I was watching the Jazz from 4 years ago. It's amazing how much it resembles that. And Donovan's just not good enough to carry a team in the fourth quarter in the playoffs.
You can't look at what understanding the context of those 3 guys missing, Garland, Mobley, Hunter. You can't look and say, well, Donovan should do less because he doesn't have the advantage of being able to do less like he did all year. He put up, 48 points? What do you have, 7 assists? 4 steals?
9 assists.
4 steals.
15 to 30.
Pretty efficient, 15 to
Not
30.
bad. One of
3-point
7,
shooting,
yeah.
though. Again, he's now 2 of 18 in the series, I think,
Right.
shooting from 3. So that's been a real
But
issue.
7's not egregious on the attempts front if you're going to have a bad 3 night.
But you go to the fourth quarter, and he was plus 14 in this game. They were better when he was on the floor. But you go to the fourth quarter, and while he still scored 12 points, he did have 3 of his turnovers. He was laboring up and down the floor. He committed really bad turnovers. He missed 2 clutch free throws. In fact, he missed 3 free throws overall in the quarter, but 2 clutch free throws. It is the problem. And some of it is stuff that is Donovan wanting to be a star, and some of it's that Donovan's 6'2". And
Maybe.
he wears out, and he tries to get to the rim, and he can't shoot over guys. It's like there's just parts of it that are really difficult.
Yeah, I'm not buying Cleveland. And by the way, Rick Adelman is a genius. Why has he not gotten way more due over the years? That guy
Carlisle.
is just, or what did I say, Adelman?
Rick Adelman.
Well, I've got Adelman on the brain because we were
Sure.
talking Denver. Sorry.
Sure.
Rick Carlisle
Yeah.
is a dang genius.
Truly an offensive
I mean,
juggernaut.
he's a great coach. He was great in Dallas. In fact, maybe one of the bad, red flags on Luka for Dallas should have been you're not getting along with Rick Carlisle.
Yeah, you can't figure out.
The guy who won a championship here, who's been nothing but a great coach wherever he's been.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting along with that guy, who, by the way, is an offensive genius and will find all sorts of ways to make you effective. That's not the dude you like? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's really, really good.
And then the Timberwolves went on the road, lost at home to the Warriors, who were on the road, largely without Steph Curry, who has a hamstring strain, which will fatally injure the Warriors in this series.
You want to hear a funny thing from a timing standpoint? Last night, I watched the first game, and then we had bedtime. And by the time I got bedtime all done, Ben, it was I sat down and I watched the game, and the score was 20-15.
Uh-huh.
I don't think the T-Wolves scored again for the next, honestly, real-time half hour.
Okay.
I'd be interested to look at it because by the time I thought, wow, they haven't scored in a long time, I looked at the clock and then some time had already gone by. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I think it was like real time, 30 minutes where the T-Wolves didn't score. And it was like, well, I guess this game is over because that's not going to do it. They had an 11-point second quarter.
Yeah, horrible. And credit the Warriors. They played very well, played well down the stretch, even when the Timberwolves got hot and started to hit shots. But you're right. They were 1 of 20 from the three-point line through the first 2/3 of the game before they kind of started to click. Naz Reid really the only player who played well for the Timberwolves. And as Christian is telling us, Steph officially out for Game 2. And I don't know if we'll see him again.
No, I don't think so.
Hamstrings are bad.
No, I think Golden State's toast. Honestly, if Steph were playing, I'd still lean heavily Minnesota.
So do I. I think of all the teams that lost their first game, I still think the Timberwolves are most likely to win the series.
Now, I do not like it when people say make or miss league. So, sorry for this next take. But when Anthony Edwards is bricking point-blank layups twice in a row.
Yeah. He had his worst game of the series.
I mean, that's like, what is going on?
That's his worst game of the playoffs. It's going to be his worst game of the playoffs. Chris Finch called him out, which I think is promising. But you know what? You look smart because what you've been saying for 2 years, and I've argued with you, is that home court advantage no longer really matters in the NBA. And I think this postseason is starting to prove that out more than ever before. Hence, for the first time ever in the second round of the playoffs, the road team won the first game in all 4 series.
And I was reminded once again why I don't like watching Rudy Gobert sometimes. Because he just will not run over guys and dunk it.
Yep. If you thought what he
What are you
did
doing?
in Game 5 against the Lakers was indicative of who he was going to be, that was false hope.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, what's next?
Number 2, #Tusks up, baby.
The
Official
mammoth.
sound of the mammoth, the trumpet of the mammoth. You can hear it from miles away. The official name. And jerseys have come out. Jersey's not for sale yet. You can go over to the team store today, and as of noon, there will be gear available: sweatshirts, hats, T-shirts, etc. No sweaters yet. Hockey sweaters.
I should hope they should have gear ready.
Good week for the Mammoth. Winning the lottery, moving up to number 4 overall, extremely unexpected. My understanding is that they thought they had been eliminated because it was a little convoluted on how the process worked. I watched it. I read Cole Bagley's tweets, And when they didn't move up the first time when the Islanders won, they got crossed off the board. So you just assumed they were done. And then the league apparently was like, oh, no, you're not done. There's a second drawing that you're going to be eligible for. And they came back and they won it thinking they had no chance to win it. So very cool.
Hey, somebody's good vibes in the universe, Ben.
Good vibes. And then you
good
get
Mammoth
the Mammoth
vibe.
name. Going to be a big summer for the team.
And then everybody is throwing away their Yeti cups. I have a Yeti coffee cup. Do I have to throw that away?
Yes, you do.
I'm assuming there's a blanket boycott on the company from Mammoth fans.
There should be. Be an Igloo guy. Or a Stanley.
I hadn't thought about Igloo, that brand, for a while. That's funny. That's good branding. Next.
Number 3, our own Ben Anderson had a mailbag up yesterday. Should the Jazz trade for Damian Lillard?
There's a lot of talk about, will Giannis become available? By the way, back to Donovan Mitchell. If Giannis doesn't get moved, and he kind of seems to be reiterating that he wants to stay, you've heard a lot of talk of the Brooklyn Nets saying, like, Giannis is our number one plan. Very realistic that their number 2 plan is, again, Donovan Mitchell with all their picks. And, again, as you find Cleveland in a spot where they feel like, hey, our window's closing, we're way too expensive, how do we find a way out of this? They take a bunch of draft picks for Donovan Mitchell. So that will be back in the ether, whether it happens or not. That's going to be back in the conversation in the next 12 to 18 months. So prepare for that if you're a Cavaliers fan or a Donovan Mitchell fan. But the concept behind trading for Damian Lillard is thus. You trade John Collins, Colin Sexton, KJ Martin. It matches Damian Lillard's contract exactly. And the Bucks send you a future unprotected first-round pick because you assume by 2032 or 2031, whatever pick is that they trade you, they're going to be atrocious because they don't own any of their own picks. They don't own any of their own picks before then, and Giannis will be long gone. And then you have a Suns unprotected first. You have a Lakers lightly protected first. You now have a Bucks unprotected first. And Damian Lillard gets to finish his career or rehab next year and then come back in a town that he likes.
Well, I don't care about that. I always thought it was cool that Damian enjoyed his time in Ogden, but that's not going to be a Jazz priority, so don't care about that. How much do you have to take the old maid? Damian's career is over for all intents and purposes. It just is. I mean, Kobe Bryant's career ended the day he ruptured his Achilles. Yeah,
the timeline for Dame, which is he's going to miss all of next year. He's going to come back. He's going to be 36 years old. He's going to need a year to rehab of just like on-court rehab. There's the off-court rehab. Then there's the I got to get back to feeling like Dame again. There might be a spot where he's useful a la Gary Payton with the Miami Heat when he finally won a title in Miami.
Right.
But it's not Damian Lillard with a 20% usage, averaging 20 points a game. It's coming off the bench despite making $55 million a year. And unfortunately, that's not possible in the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
You can't have an overpaid guy playing that spot. So you're right. So, yeah, what does it take to get the old maid? And that's the other question that comes out of this. If
One unprotected pick enough to take the old maid?
I wonder if the Suns would give up another one. They probably would. So maybe you just take it from the Suns. The nice thing about Lillard is if your goal is to tank next year, you don't have to artificially rest John Collins and Colin Sexton, who were 2 of your biggest game winners last year.
Mm-hmm.
You just say, well, we don't have anyone to play. So it's going to be X top 5 pick.
Yeah, you got to pay
Hendricks,
somebody.
Cody Williams, etc. And now 60 minutes of good basketball. John Collins and Colin Sexton, I think, are good basketball players that help you win games. All of a sudden, those 60 minutes are now handed down to young players and guys who aren't going to help you win, whereas that's what Colin Sexton and John Collins were able to do for stretches last year.
Okay.
So it does allow you to tank. There's some strategy there.
I could be talked into it, I suppose.
And the truth is, if you were to trade John Collins or Colin Sexton, you're not getting the value back individually of an unprotected future first-round pick.
And Colin could help them. So could
John Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and then they get out of Damian Lillard's contract a year early before Giannis hits free agency the year after that. So I actually think it makes a ton of sense for Milwaukee. The question is, how much sense do you think does it feel for the Jazz?
All right. Well, I'm more Jake and Ben coming up straight ahead. Again, press conference, top of the 11 o'clock hour for the announcement about the Mammoth, the name of the now Utah NHL franchise. It's coming up straight ahead. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present?
This is JJ and Alex.
Big T Thurl Bailey joining us.
It's so weird that the fate of a franchise can come down to a random drawing, but that's just how it is in the NBA. Is it too much hyperbole to call this one of the most important moments in franchise history?
Look, it's not a perfect science, but I don't think it's hyperbole at all, because your goal is to hopefully get the top pick. I mean, that's not just your goal, but the other teams that are involved in that as well. But again, it may not happen. But there's some great players coming out in the top 5. I know everybody's talking Cooper Flag this and Cooper Flag that, but I think there's definitely talent there that can help the Jazz continue to progress based on maybe what they're trying to do with all their other assets. But no, I don't believe it's hyperbole at all. It's a really important time, and there are going to be a lot of eyes on it.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.